My boyfriend gives me $200,000 every month. I strictly adhere to feminine virtues every day, never checking his phone, never questioning his whereabouts. Occasionally, if I bump into him shopping with other girls, I get even more nervous than he does, lowering my head and running away quickly, afraid of ruining his good time. One day, 6 months into our relationship, we were using his phone to cast a movie on the screen when a message suddenly popped up, "I'm pregnant." After an awkward moment of eye contact, I hesitantly spoke up, "Maybe I should go take care of my sister during her postpartum confinement." Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. At night, I unlocked a shared bike and was about to head to the brat's house for tutoring with utter despair when a voice stopped me. "Hey, you on the bike?" I paused, then turned around. "Me, yes, you, come here." I walked over in complete confusion. The guy held out a bank card. "Be my girlfriend, and I'll give you $200,000 every month. Want to, huh?" With an impatient look, he repeated, "Be my girlfriend, and I'll give you $200,000 every month. Last time I'm asking, want to or not?" To my ears, this sentence sounded like, blah blah, $200K down the drain, blah blah. I swiftly grabbed the bank card. "Honey, good girl." The guy nodded in satisfaction, casually wrapping an arm around my shoulder while looking disdainfully at the person across from us. "See, $200K means nothing to me, but I'd rather throw it to the dogs than give it to you. You're not worthy." I didn't even bat an eye when I heard that. "If you're giving me $200,000, can't you even call me a little dog? Pfft, who do you think you're fooling with a lousy bank card?" Only then did I notice there was a girl standing opposite me, arms crossed and looking down her nose at me. This beauty has a face that could boost technological advancement, with a curvaceous figure and dressed lightly, but I have no time to admire her. Alarm bells are ringing in my heart. What if there's no money in this card? Then wouldn't my calling him hubby be in vain? The guy took out his phone. "You, open your payment QR code." I immediately pulled out my second-hand iPhone, opening the payment QR code while giving the beautiful woman across from me a grateful look. This is what true girls help girls looks like. The guy took out his phone, tapped a few times, and I instantly received a notification. "User has transferred $200,000 to you. Note, voluntary gift, see that." The guy waved his phone at the beautiful girl across from him. The girl's face turned pale, speechless. "Remember, I'm the one dumping you." Satisfied, the guy pocketed his phone, turned and strode away. After a few steps, he looked back. "What are you standing there for?" Dumbstruck, "Hurry up and follow me." I quickly trotted to catch up. "Coming, hubby." The guy walked all the way to the school gate, stopped beside a black Cayenne, and asked with a frown, "Where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride." I was about to say the tutoring address, but then it occurred to me, I'd just made $200,000, so I quickly changed my answer. "I'm going back to the dorm." "All right, then I won't see you off. There's $400,000 in the card, plus the $200,000 just transferred. For the next 3 months, you'll be my girlfriend. Any problems?" I clutched the bank card tightly and shook my head. "No." The guy pulled up his friend QR code again. "Add me." I quickly added him as a friend, even thoughtfully writing in the request, "I am your girlfriend." The guy accepted my friend request and put away his phone. "All right, that's it for now. I'll message you if anything comes up later." I stood there dumbfounded, not snapping out of it even after that figure in black disappeared from sight. With my shitty luck where I've never even won a buy one get one free on a bottle of drink, is this kind of good fortune really happening to me? I picked up my phone and double-checked the balance again, 200,803.02. For the first time, I felt that life was fucking worth it. Back in the dorm, I couldn't wait to quit my tutoring job. Then I started searching on Baidu, how to prevent scams. I searched back and forth but couldn't find this particular scam method. I returned to the interface, checked my balance again, looked at the bank card in my hand, and suddenly realized he never told me the password. I opened the guy's chat window. His moments were set to 3-day visibility. His profile picture was pure black, and his nickname was blank. I stared at that mass of blackness, feeling stuck again. I didn't know the guy's name. After much deliberation, I mustered my courage and said, "Hey, boyfriend." It took half an hour before the other side replied, "What's up?" I replied instantly, you haven't told me the bank card password yet, have you?" Another half hour passed before a string of numbers came through from the other side. 001223. Immediately after, a 4-second voice message filled with deafening music and noisy clamor was sent. "This is my birthday, remember it well. I'll quiz you on it later," I typed, more than just remembering. I could engrave it into my DNA. After some thought, I decided to delete it and simply replied, "Got it," accompanied by an adorable cat emoji I hadn't used in ages. There was no reply from the other side. So I went ahead and made my way to the school's ATM in the dark to confirm the balance of $400,000. Only then did I return to my dorm room. Fully satisfied, took a shower and went to bed. In my dream, I moved into Thompson Riviera and became neighbors with a certain billionaire. I was happily listening to him reveal the behind-the-scenes story of a certain popular celebrity when a sharp voice call sound jerked me back to reality. With my eyes closed, I answered the call in annoyance. "Hello, already asleep?" I glanced at the clock. It was 3:50 a.m. and instinctively retorted, "What else? Are you being mean to me?" I snapped awake instantly. "My sugar daddy," softening my voice, I said, "Darling, I wasn't being mean to you." There was a brief silence on the other end. The voice tinged with a hint of drunkenness. "Why didn't you say goodnight to me before going to bed?" To be honest, having been single all my life, I never developed the habit of reporting to someone before sleep, but it wasn't something I could say outright. So I made up an excuse. I was going to say something, but I accidentally fell asleep. "You know you're my girlfriend, right?" "I know. From now on, I want all the treatment that other boyfriends get, and even what they don't get. Otherwise, don't expect me to renew my subscription." "Renew? There's such an option." "I get it. I'll be more careful in the future, but..." I paused, feeling the need to clarify something up front. Just to be clear, I sell my skills, not my body." The other person laughed. "Don't worry, your brother here follows the law." I breathed a sigh of relief, very satisfied with this job. "I have an early class tomorrow. When I come downstairs, I want to see you and breakfast. I'll send you the dorm number and my phone number later." "Okay, baby, go to sleep." "Then I'm going to bed. Good night, baby, The call was disconnected. The next day, I got up early, dressed carefully, bought breakfast, and waited in front of the boys' dormitory. Watching the endless stream of boys, I encountered a new problem. I have mild face blindness, and since yesterday I was too busy looking at the bank card, checking my phone balance, admiring the luxury car, and focusing on the technology revitalizes the nation face. I couldn't quite remember what the guy from yesterday looked like. I only remember he was dressed all in black, with a diamond earring in his left ear, holding breakfast. I stared earnestly at every boy's ear, searching carefully. 5 minutes later, a boy dressed entirely in black with a black earring in his left ear walked out of the dormitory. I quickly put on a professional smile and approached him. "Good morning, hubby." The guy froze in place, the air around him falling silent for a moment before the other boys nearby erupted in teasing cheers and began to poke fun at him. "Not bad, Wayne. Since when did you get a girlfriend? Isn't that our junior you managed to win over the department's ice queen?" "Wayne, the senior from my department. Sorry, my girlfriend wasn't fully awake this morning and mistook you for someone else." A familiar voice sounded from behind as the guy's slender arm casually draped over my shoulder. He slightly lowered his head, his dark eyes smiling faintly. "Your husband is right here, girlfriend. I think I'm about to lose my job." After walking a distance, he finally let go of me, leisurely took out a cigarette and lit it, then raised an eyebrow and asked, "Do I look like him?" The guy stood against the light, and I barely reached his chest, his narrow eyes slightly upturned, his nose bridge high and straight, his jawline sharp, and his thin lips exhaling white smoke. He exuded a dangerous yet captivating aura. As for the senior earlier, Wayne, his build was similar, but his facial features were softer, with slightly downturned outer corners of his eyes and lips of moderate thickness, giving off a gentle and comforting vibe like a spring breeze. I shook my head seriously. No, it doesn't. Then how could you mistake someone else? I stood next to you for half an hour, and you went and called someone else honey. Half an hour. I didn't see you come down. I didn't stay overnight yesterday. I rushed back just for you. The guy sighed dramatically. Who knew I'd stand there for half an hour only for my girlfriend to not recognize me at all, even calling someone else honey right in front of me. Seems like I haven't spent enough money yet. Got it, got it. When I get back, I'll carve your image onto a cigarette and inhale it into my lungs, so I'll never mistake you again. The guy smirked with amusement. Weren't you supposed to be an ice queen? How come you're taking the Chuyuni route with me? I immediately made my stance clear. If my husband likes it, I can take any route. He casually stubbed out his cigarette and tossed it into the trash. I'll forgive you this once. Considering your good service attitude. Got any classes this morning? I finally relaxed. Thank you, boss. I don't have classes this morning. He glanced at me casually. Boss, sorry, I meant hubby. If you're free, come to my morning class with me. The guy put his arm around my shoulder as we walked toward the teaching building. Next time you call someone else hubby, I'll deduct your salary. I understand. I obediently followed him. For this 200,000. Forget about accompanying him to class. I'd even go bungee jumping with him. The guy was a year ahead of me. From the computer science department next door, he pulled me in through the back and went straight to the last row, where he started picking at his breakfast. I don't like this. You can have it. I love soup dumplings though. Buy more next time. I casually pulled out the notebook from my bag, bit off the pen cap, and started writing furiously. MHM, please go on. The guy raised an eyebrow and leaned over to look at my notebook. Breakfast preferences of the sugar daddy. Soup dumplings +1. Pancakes -1. The guy paused, then burst out laughing. Why are you so cute? Trying to kill me with laughter. Then he successfully choked, laughing while coughing violently. Taking quite a while to recover, I silently added a few words. Feed with caution. Prone to choking. After the professor entered the classroom, the first thing he asked was, Oliver, are you here today? Here, the young man lazily gestured with his hand. Turns out my wonderful husband's name is Oliver. Finally meeting you in person. What a rare occasion. The professor gave him a glance and began the lecture. Oliver listened unsteadily for a while before dozing off. Having nothing better to do, I decided to take notes for him, whether I could understand or not. I just wrote everything down, after scribbling notes for most of the class. Oliver finally lifted his drowsy head and propped his chin to watch me take notes. The class bell rang, and he asked me in a hoarse voice, Girlfriend, what's your name? Jade. All right. He patted my head with his hand. Wait here for me. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Oliver had just stepped out when a pair of slender, fair hands adorned with luxurious manicured nails tapped on my desk. Hey! I looked up to see my Tech Nation's pride bestie from yesterday. Hi. So you and Oliver are in the same department. The beauty didn't answer me but frowned and asked, Are you really with Oliver? Yeah. Her brows furrowed even tighter. You don't even know him. Just because he gave you hundreds of thousands, you're with him. Yeah. Don't you have any principles? Would you really sacrifice your dignity just for money? I was baffled. Listen to yourself. Do you really think I'd give up money just to keep my dignity? The beauty got angry. You? What kind of person are you? Of course, I'm just a diligent worker. I thought for a moment and added, Don't even think about stealing my job. Cutting off someone's livelihood is like killing their parents. Be careful, or I won't let you off easy. Who wants to steal your job? Oliver sauntered in through the back door. I immediately changed my expression, lowering my eyes with a pitiful look. No one. Oliver frowned and glanced at her. What do you want with my girlfriend? I tugged at Oliver's sleeve and said pitifully, It's okay, honey, don't give the senior a hard time. Even though she said I have no dignity or bottom line, she didn't mean it. Oliver glared at the beauty. Now you're jealous. Too late. He then pulled me into his embrace, gently stroking my head and soothing me in a soft voice. Jade, be good. Don't pay her any mind from now on. Later, hubby will take you to buy bags and clothes to make it up to you. I couldn't help but want to look up and ask him, really buying or just saying, if it's real, can we consider cash instead? But I didn't ask, because just as I was about to lift my head, Oliver seemed to know what I was going to do and subtly pressed my head back down. You guys, disgusting, the beauty cursed in a coquettish voice, then walked away in her high heels. Oliver let go of me. All right, stop pretending, you really know how to put on a show. Standing up for the boss is my duty. I sat down beside him with a proud expression. Spotting the back of the technology revitalizes the nation's sisters from afar, unable to resist gossiping. Baby, what did she do to make you angry? Oliver shot a displeased glance at her back. What else? She found some 40-something land contractor and cheated on me. No way, you're so handsome and rich. Why would she go for some 40-something old man? She's blind. Oliver leaned in and whispered to me. I've never been in a relationship before. She followed me around for a year, so I thought, why not give it a try? After dating for a month, she mentioned her birthday was coming up and kept hinting that I should buy her a bag. That bag only cost $20,000. I thought it was too cheap, so I didn't agree. Instead, I specially ordered her a BMW. But on her birthday, she ghosted me. The next night, I saw her getting out of some old man's car, saying whatever I wouldn't give her. There were plenty of others who would. She even told me not to date if I couldn't afford it, that I was wasting her time. That pissed me off. You can say anything about me, but don't say I'm broke. Oh, I suddenly understood. So that's how I got such a bargain. What a waste of my first love. I patted his shoulder solemnly. Don't worry, you still have me. Your first love might have been wasted, but those 200,000 definitely won't be. I'll give you the ultimate VIP level dating experience. Oliver glanced at me and said, do a good job, make me happy, and renewing for a year or so won't be a problem. Indeed, capitalists are good at painting rosy pictures. For several weeks in a row, whenever I didn't have classes, I would accompany Oliver to his classes, then rush back to my own department to continue with mine. But I disliked Tuesdays the most, because Oliver has a class in the South Campus, while my afternoon class is at the main campus, and the two campuses are quite far apart. I end up not having enough time to eat lunch, coming to class on an empty stomach, sitting in the classroom. My stomach couldn't help but growl. I quietly lamented how I've become spoiled after just a few days of good living. Since childhood, I've been without parents, relying on government policies, subsidies, tuition waivers, and working part-time every possible moment to successfully pull myself through to university classrooms. There aren't many options in my life. Money is always the top priority. During college, almost all my free time was spent either working part-time or on my way to a part-time job. I simply had no time to even think about things like dating. This earned me the nickname Ice Queen. Truth is, my personality is quite pleasant. I just never had the time to show it to others. Hello, may I sit here? A gentle voice drifted down from above, interrupting my deep thoughts. It turned out to be the senior I had mistaken for a sugar daddy that day, Wayne. Of course, senior. I blushed and scooted over to make room. That morning, I called him husband in front of so many people and then ran off without explaining, probably making him really embarrassed. Thinking of this, I took the initiative to apologize. I'm sorry, senior, that morning, I mistook you for someone else. I really didn't mean to. It's fine, I didn't come to you because of that. Wayne sat down beside me. I happen to be free today, so I thought I'd join your class to review a bit. He hesitated for a moment before asking further. But why would you mistake someone else for your boyfriend? Are you in an online relationship? I blurted out nonsense without thinking. No, it was love at first sight. We felt destined for each other and started dating instantly. But that first glance was too brief. After a night's sleep, I could barely recognize him anymore. There's no way I could tell him that my relationship with Oliver was purely transactional. Is that so? Wayne turned around, his dark eyes fixed intently on me. What a shame. If you'd seen me earlier, perhaps it would have been my face that sparked your love at first sight. Huh, my brain short-circuited for a moment. I've seen Wayne many times before. He's basically always there whenever student representatives speak or when our department participates in major competitions. It's just that I've never really had any interaction with him. And I certainly never expected him to recognize someone like me, a perpetually busy working girl. I remember you've always said no to dating. A couple of my classmates confessed to you and got rejected. I thought you were just focused on studies. But turns out you just hadn't met someone you liked enough. Yeah, ha ha ha, I nodded on the surface, but in my heart, I thought, it's not about meeting someone I like enough, it's about meeting someone rich enough. After that, Wayne stopped chatting with me, put on a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, and focused on the lecture. Occasionally, when he noticed my confused expression, he would take the time to explain things to me. It has to be said, Wayne had a solid foundation, having been selected to represent the department in competitions. And his explanations were clear and easy to understand. I was so engrossed in listening that I didn't even notice when the class ended, until Oliver's sarcastic voice interrupted our little study session. Sweetheart, mistaking your husband again. Wayne lowered his gaze to the textbook, adjusting his glasses. No, I was just explaining a problem to our junior. Is that so? Oliver curled his lips, though his eyes held no warmth. Then listen next time, sweetheart, I brought you lunch. Only then did I notice Oliver's food packaging bag hooked on his fingertip. Thank you for today, senior. I'll head off first. Wayne's eyebrows lifted gracefully. Then see you next time, junior. On the way back to the dorm, Oliver remained silent with a dark expression. I made small talk. How nice of you to bring me a special meal. Oliver glanced at me sideways. Have you eaten yet? Does it taste good? I'm completely out of ideas. Oliver was being way too obvious. Even someone as dense as me when it comes to romance could tell he was jealous. At a loss for how to comfort him, I took out my phone and secretly searched on Baidu, how to comfort a jealous boyfriend. The first response is, explain things clearly to your boyfriend and make it clear to him that no one can replace his position in your heart. Then take appropriate initiative, show him more care, and do something that will make him happy. Just as I was watching intently, Oliver suddenly stopped and said unhappily, what are you secretly looking at? Nothing. I put away my phone. Oliver's face darkened even more. He took a deep breath, lowered his head, and lit a cigarette. From his expression, it was clear he was on the verge of exploding. My high-paying job was hanging by a thread. I quickly explained according to the template. I just happened to run into Wayne, and I'm not very familiar with him. Don't overthink it. No one can replace your position in my heart. Indeed irreplaceable. Who else would pay me $200,000 a month? Oliver's expression softened slightly as he tilted his head and exhaled a puff of smoke, asking me, what about the phone? What are you hiding? I hesitated for a moment before handing him my phone. Oliver took the phone, glanced at it, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. So you knew I was jealous? Yeah, I looked up at him. You made it too obvious, hard not to notice. You're already my girlfriend, yet you still call him husband, attend classes with him, and even say, see you next time. It's really upsetting to hear. Am I spending $200,000 a month just to get cheated on again? I was wrong, I mumbled, hanging my head. What's next? Didn't I just say, you need to do something to make me happy? Tell me, what do you want me to do? Oliver tilted his chin up, opened the phone camera. I turned on the camera, and he took my phone, casually stopping a passing classmate to say something before walking back to me. His hand holding a cigarette naturally rested on my shoulder. Look at the camera. After taking a few shots, Oliver checked the photos and seemed fairly satisfied. I took the initiative to ask, should I make it official with an Instagram post? At least you're being considerate. Oliver finally relaxed his furrowed brow and nudged me forward. No rush. Go have lunch first. Your stomach's been growling for a while. It's getting impolite to keep it waiting. Embarrassed, I touched my stomach, surprised he'd heard it. Back in the dorm, I skipped lunch and posted to Moments First a photo with 3 words, boyfriend. After finishing the meal, my comment section exploded, all in capital question marks. When did you start dating? Is your boyfriend that rich kid from the computer science department? Weren't we supposed to focus on making money? How come we're not doing it? Oliver didn't comment, just gave me a like. He didn't post on Moments, but of course I wouldn't mind. I'm just an employee. How could I make demands of my good boss? But after this incident, I realized my lack of dating experience seriously affected the boss's romantic experience. After much soul-searching, I decided to read some campus romance novels and watch sweet romantic dramas to quickly improve my dating knowledge. Just as I opened a Korean drama app, the dormitory door was slammed open, and two women rushed at me screaming, bombarding me with questions. So you're in a relationship and we only found out from your social media post. Who made the first move? How did it happen? Have you held hands, kissed? Spill the details now. I paused for a moment. Well, it all started when... Wait a second, the dorm leader Paige interrupted, grabbing 2 bags of chips from the cabinet and tearing open the packaging. All right, continue. So I spent about 3 minutes explaining it clearly to them. The two of them were stunned for quite a while after hearing it. 200,000 every month. Is this a scam? Did you sign a contract? I answered honestly. The money was given to me, but the contract wasn't signed. Are you stupid? That money should be recoverable. Wait. Let me ask my boyfriend. He's in the law department. I'll have him draft a contract for you, Paige said before stepping out to make a call. We stared at each other for 2 minutes. Paige returned. We'll go print the contract later. He has to sign it. Miranda hesitated a bit. Oliver, the senior, probably wouldn't do something like taking it back, right? My boyfriend is in the same class as him. His family is super rich. We've run into him several times during our dates. And each time he was driving a different sports car. No way. This is 200,000 we're talking about. We need to be thorough. Come on, let's go print out the contract right now. I thought about it and realized we really should sign a contract. So the 3 of us crowded into the photocopy shop downstairs, printed the contract, and I stuffed it into the canvas bag I always carried. Paige frowned. Wait, you're making 200K a month now. How come your living standards are still stuck at $9.99 with free shipping level? Miranda chimed in. Exactly. It's still early. Why don't we go shopping while we're at it? I glanced at my bag. It's not really necessary, is it? We're all students after all. As long as it can hold books, that's good enough. Tisk, Oliver's friends are all from wealthy families. Even just to make your sponsor look good, you should buy something decent. I nodded. You make a good point. The 3 of us took a taxi straight to the mall. Paige comes from a well-off family and knows a lot about luxury goods. She picked out some basic items of clothing and bags that suited my figure and temperament. After a shopping spree, the 3 of us walked out carrying bags of all sizes. We hadn't gone far when Miranda suddenly whispered, Jade, look to your left. Isn't that Oliver? And who's that woman with him? Cheating right after going public. I suddenly turned my head for a quick glance. Oliver walked impatiently with his hands in his pockets. The woman beside him was too dazzlingly pale to make out her features clearly. Clinging to his arm and struggling to keep up in her high heels, Paige rolled up her sleeves. It really is him. How dare he walk toward us? I'll go give that homewrecker a piece of my mind for you. No, no, no. I quickly grabbed Paige, took out the sunglasses and hat from the packaging bag, put them on. Then hunched over and sneakily pulled the 2 of them to retreat quickly. Hurry up, don't let him see me. The 3 of us stumbled and hid in a luxury store. I secretly peeked out to scout the situation. Paige pulled me back in annoyance and took off my sunglasses. No, I don't get it. Who exactly cheated? Why are you running away faster than him? What's going on here? Of course he's the one who cheated, but I can't let him know that I know he cheated. What if he gets angry out of shame and breaks up with me? Where else am I gonna find such a good deal? Paige thumbs up. My bad. I underestimated the situation. The 3 of us shamelessly stayed in the luxury store until closing time, making sure we wouldn't run into Oliver. Before timidly heading back, I had just arrived at the dormitory not long ago when Oliver sent a message. Did you go out today? I denied it outright. No, with 200,000 at stake, admitting it was out of the question. I'm getting Oliver more and more familiar with. Occasionally when he woke up early, he would wait for me downstairs at the dormitory in advance. I practiced my makeup skills diligently, and one day I deliberately got up early to apply a delicate, natural makeup, with black curly hair cascading over my shoulders, dressed in a pure white dress. As soon as I went downstairs, I saw a tall figure standing under the ginkgo tree. "Good morning, husband." I took the initiative to greet him. Oliver looked up absent-mindedly, and when he saw me, his smoking motion paused for a moment. His eyes darkened as he stared at me for 2 seconds before extinguishing the cigarette and walking over in a few strides. "Do I look good?" I asked, spinning around to show off. He curled his lips into a smile, patiently watching me finish my display. "You look great. Why the special effort today?" "I'll dress up like this every day from now on," I said, taking the initiative to loop my arm through his. Oliver stiffened for a moment, then awkwardly turned his head away. "You look good whether you dress up or not." No sooner had he finished speaking than his phone rang. Oliver looked down at it and answered the call somewhat reluctantly. "What do you want, Oliver, honey?" The voice on the phone was a woman's, so gentle it was almost dripping with tenderness. Perhaps the speakerphone was accidentally turned on, making the voice unusually clear. The situation was a bit awkward, so I decided to give them some privacy. "I'll go upstairs to get something." After saying that, I dashed back to the dormitory just in time to grab Paige's drafted contract for me. Then I quietly peeked through the hallway window, waiting until he finished his call before going out. Oliver suddenly seemed in a terrible mood, his face clouded over, and he remained silent the whole way. It dawned on me belatedly that perhaps I shouldn't have spoken up earlier. Could it be that his younger sister misunderstood upon hearing a woman's voice and started arguing with him? I'm a bit anxious, even thinking of teaching him a few tricks myself. Say I'm a classmate, say I'm an older or younger sister, anything will do. Can't you even make up such a simple lie? During class, Oliver also sat silently without saying a word. I was anxiously standing by his side. "What are you waiting for? Take out your phone and hurry up," to comfort him. A short class passed, and I couldn't sit still. Oliver finally couldn't help but ask, "What are you squirming about over there?" Heh. I forced out a fake smile. "New clothes, not quite used to them yet." He stared at me for 2 seconds, then suddenly leaned in closer. "A woman just called me. Aren't you going to get jealous, or do you really just see me as an emotionless ATM?" To be honest, I don't think I feel jealous. With this 200,000, I could tolerate the entire Sahara Desert in my eyes. But couples in love should feel jealous. Of course I get jealous, I declared shamelessly. "Then show me how jealous you get." I lightly punched Oliver on the chest with my small fist. "You bad man, how could you do this? I love you so much, yet you walk arm in arm with another girl and even chat on the phone right in front of me." As I rummaged through my bag, I continued, "No more of this next time, baby. Your punishment is signing this contract." When I handed over the contract, Oliver was completely stunned. After a long pause, he finally signed the contract with a few quick strokes, his face dark. "You really got me, Jade." Oliver is angry. He doesn't want me to accompany him to class, nor does he reply to my messages. He's also been walking side by side with girls on campus multiple times, and just my luck, I witnessed it all, forced to wear a hat, mask, and sunglasses whenever I go out. I quickly slip away fully armed whenever I run into him, sticking to the pretend not to see strategy. Paige and Miranda had to dodge with me every day. For a while, our dorm was like a guerrilla squad, keeping an eye on everything and staying alert. I racked my brains for days but still couldn't figure out how to cheer him up, send roses, arrange a heart shape downstairs, write an apology letter. Unable to find any solution, I sent a message to Oliver, asking to talk. If I can coax him, I will. If not, I'll resign. Anyway, the money's already been made. I can't keep up this guerrilla warfare. As night fell, Oliver finally replied. He sent a location pin, which was some bar, at the bar entrance. I called Oliver, however, it was his friend who answered the phone. "Is this the wife? Come in, Oliver is drunk." The music in the bar was blaring, with young men and women coming and going in flashy makeup, and the dance floor was a swirling mass of heat. As soon as I entered, a few guys waved at me. "Sister-in-law over here." I hadn't met them before and had no idea how they recognized me at a glance. Upon entering, I saw Oliver lying on the booth sofa with his head tilted, his arm lightly covering his eyes, revealing only his thin lips and sharp jawline. Sis-in-law, did you have a fight with Oliver? He's been drinking for days. It's rare for you to come today, so hurry and comfort him. Yeah, sis-in-law, Oliver really likes you. Look how pitiful he is, don't hold it against him. The guys kept chiming in one after another, leaving me at a loss for words. I moved closer and crouched down beside Oliver, gently shaking the hand covering his forehead as I whispered, Oliver, are you okay? Oliver frowned and grabbed my restless hand. Oliver, weren't you calling me hubby every day just a while ago? The song happened to change just then, leaving a few seconds of silence where everyone around heard his words clearly. Oh my, how sweet, you couldn't even speak properly earlier, but now you're so smooth talking in front of your sister-in-law. Teasing cheers rose one after another, and my face turned completely red. A few less words won't kill you. Oliver casually threw a pillow at them, then stood up unsteadily while rubbing his temples. I whispered to him, shall I take you home, Oliver slung an arm over my shoulder, his steps somewhat unsteady. He really liked putting his arm around my shoulder. Given our height difference, I often suspected he was using me as a walking stick. The designated driver followed the address to a small 2-story villa. I helped Oliver out of the car. Is anyone at your place? No, his voice was muffled. After hesitating for a while and watching Oliver's unsteady steps, I decided to take him home and make sure he was settled. Otherwise, he'd probably end up hurting himself. The house was pitch dark, with only the moonlight barely illuminating the general layout, 2 floors and several doors. I had no choice but to ask him, where is your bedroom? No need, I can sleep on the sofa. I firmly stopped him. Since I've already brought you in, go sleep in the bedroom. Oliver lowered his head, pressing it against my forehead, pulling me closer. Though the room was dimly lit, a few specks of starlight seemed enough to illuminate Oliver's dark eyes. He whispered in a hushed voice, Jade, even though I'm an ATM, I'm still a man. Are you really this comfortable around me? My heart pounded wildly as I nervously turned my head away. Not comfortable at all. Then that settles it. Keep me company on the sofa for a while. Oliver slumped onto the sofa, gave my hand a gentle tug, and I fell into his arms. Jade, I'm in a bad mood. Cheer me up. Blushing furiously, I lay in his arms and thought for a long while. Don't be in a bad mood. Oliver couldn't help but chuckle lightly, his chest vibrating gently along with it, sending a tingling sensation through my own. Can't even comfort someone properly. Is this your so-called VIP treatment? I felt inexplicably annoyed. I'm already letting you hug me. What more do you want? All right. All right. I won't ask for more. This is just fine. As soon as he finished speaking, Oliver's phone rang again at the most inopportune moment. He pulled out his phone, glanced at it, and shoved it toward me. You answer it. I looked at the caller ID, a woman's name, and felt a bit at a loss. Could it be that I had to help him piss someone off again? Stop overthinking. That's my mom. Just tell her I'm asleep. With some guilt, I answered the phone. Hello, Auntie. Oliver has already fallen asleep. Should I have him call you back tomorrow? Are you his girlfriend? The voice on the other end spoke, and I froze for a moment. It turned out to be the woman who called me Oliver Honey that day. Her voice seemed naturally soft and delicate, giving the illusion of coquetry no matter what she said. I glanced at Oliver, who rested his chin on my shoulder without saying a word. I had no choice but to brace myself and say, yes, Auntie. Oh dear, Oliver got a girlfriend and didn't even tell me. Sweetheart, how old are you? Are you in the same school as Oliver? For the next 20 minutes, I was subjected to Oliver's mother's thorough interrogation, covering everything from education and age to family background. When I told her I had no parents, she clearly paused for 2 seconds before saying softly, is that so? You must have suffered a lot then. It hasn't been too bad, I replied nonchalantly. Finally, I hung up the phone under the pretense of needing rest. Auntie is so gentle. Why don't you want to answer her calls? Oliver's expression changed slightly. I don't know, so, Have you been feeling down these past few days because you had a fight with your aunt? We didn't fight either, Oliver smiled bitterly. It's because my mother's birthday and my father's death anniversary fall on the same day. But that's not something your mother could choose, is it? Yes, it's a flimsy reason. Oliver lowered his eyelids. Jade, you know what? I used to be a child without parents too. No way. I glanced around, even without the lights on. The luxury of this villa was faintly discernible. Were you adopted? No. When I was in elementary school, my father was seriously ill, and my mother divorced him. Our family had no money, so we had to give up treatment, and he passed away soon after. Then I became an orphan. Later, in high school, my mother reappeared. My stepfather was very wealthy but couldn't have children. So she found me and asked me to come back. A few days ago was my mother's birthday. She didn't know her birthday was the same day as my father's death anniversary, and I didn't tell her. But as I looked at her, I couldn't help wondering, if she hadn't left back then, could my father have lived a little longer? My stepfather treats me as his own, and my mother does everything she can to make it up to me. I know she was just pursuing a better life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's always a thorn in my heart. Every time I try to get closer to her, that thorn digs deeper. Jade, do you ever resent your parents? No, I answered without hesitation. Life is short, and I don't want to live in resentment. While some complain about having no shoes, others in this world have no legs. I'm healthy and whole. What obstacle can't I overcome? Comforting others is a skill I'll never master. Let me try some motivational talk. Oliver looked at me quietly. Jade, you're nothing like I imagined. Then what did you imagine me to be like? Every time I see you at school, you always have a cold face, looking like you're carrying the weight of the world. Nonsense. I rolled my eyes. How can you smile when you're working every day? Everyone looks like they owe me 2 million. Then just focus on your job. Oliver pulled me closer. Read me a bedtime story and tuck me in. This counts as overtime. I grumbled and started searching for bedtime stories on Baidu. Once upon a time, there was a mountain, and in the mountain stood a temple. Inside the temple lived an old monk and a young monk. As I chanted, my eyelids grew heavier, and the night deepened. In my dream, I heard Oliver's voice. Jade, why don't we try dating seriously? I answered groggily. Add more money. 400,000. I shook my head. 400,000 isn't the price for a boyfriend. 400,000 would be an insult if you were just my boyfriend. How about I upgrade you directly to my reincarnated parents? I'll serve you like an ox or horse and honor you as my elders. How's that? Forget I said anything. Don't be like that. We can still negotiate. 35,000 would work too. Oliver's voice faded from the dream, leaving only me muttering to myself. Are you still there? Hello? How about a flat rate of 300,000? Shut up and go to sleep. Oh. The next day, I got up with an aching back and was Oliver pushed into the car and rushed to school for the morning class. I rubbed my waist and complained. How tightly were you holding me? I feel like my waist is broken, Oliver said sheepishly. I was afraid you'd fall. It wasn't on purpose. You're not afraid I'll fall. You're afraid I won't die from it. All right. I'll compensate you. Send me your card number. I'll renew it for a year. I immediately perked up, sending over a string of numbers before it hit me. Aren't you graduating in 6 months? Mind your own business. Can't I just like schoolgirls? I pondered thoughtfully. If you put it that way, I might have to consider dropping out or repeating a grade. Oliver shot me an utterly speechless glance. There's really nothing you wouldn't dare to think of. I arrived at the teaching building just in time, with only one seat left in the classroom. As soon as I sat down, 2 sharp glares shot over from the front row. Miranda and Paige were looking at me with expressions of utter disappointment. Yesterday I told them I was going to find Oliver to talk and then left. Later, I didn't have time to reply to messages before falling asleep. Staying out all night, they probably misunderstood. After barely enduring 2 hours, as soon as the class bell rang, Paige and Miranda quickly dragged me back to the dorm and sat me down solemnly. Jade, we need to talk. Oliver has moved on. Let him go. We know you're short on money, but you can't keep a man with your body. We're really... Stop. I quickly interrupted. afraid they might say something outrageous. Nothing happened yesterday. Oliver got drunk and I took him home. Paige looked at me suspiciously. Really, nothing at all. Well, we hugged. Was it voluntary? Well, semi-voluntary. Miranda frowned. After all this, could it be that you're just lusting after their body? Don't talk nonsense. I didn't do anything. I lowered my head guiltily. It's not like there were no inappropriate thoughts at all. I was still a little tempted, to be honest. In less than half a year, my notebook titled Patron's Preferences was already densely filled with notes. I'm getting better and better at playing the role of this girlfriend. Oliver, I've figured out everything he likes to eat, drink, and play, even including his friends and his mother's personality. I cater to his preferences, adhering strictly to feminine virtues every day, never making him jealous. I've also thoroughly studied 10 rules every smart woman must know: never checking his phone, never prying into his whereabouts, giving him plenty of freedom. Occasional conflicts between us usually stem from Oliver complaining that I give him too much freedom. In my free time, I also visit Oliver's villa, because he insists that I personally cook for him. Another time, I encountered Oliver's mother returning home. The aunt was very warm, and with me around, Oliver seemed less awkward, making the interaction quite pleasant. Before I knew it, I had completely integrated into his life. If it weren't for the over $1 million in my bank account, I would have almost forgotten that there was still a financial relationship between us. During the National Day holiday, with no home to return to and nothing to do in the dorm, Oliver dragged back to his little villa. While waiting for him at the school gate, the long unseen beauty with a technology revitalizes the nation face made another appearance. She stepped on her high heels, casting a disdainful glance at me and Oliver sitting on the motorcycle, then gracefully got into a convertible sports car that roared away. My motorcycle is way more expensive than that crappy sports car. What's there to be cocky about? Hold me tight. As soon as the words fell, the motorcycle roared and sped off. I clung tightly to Oliver's waist. Through his thin t-shirt, his waist felt a bit odd, and I couldn't help but curiously touch it a little longer. Why is the fat on your stomach so hard? That's fucking abs. Have you touched enough? Oh. I awkwardly withdrew my hand, only to turn and see the convertible sports car embarrassingly stalled in the middle of the road, with no sign of the driver. Apparently the car had broken down. Oliver slowed down, and I immediately matched his pace with tacit understanding. Senior, take your time waiting. We're heading off first. Bye. Oliver accelerated the car and roared away. On the way to the villa, a sentence silently surfaced in my mind. If my husband fights, I hand him the knife. If my husband curses, I join the shouting. But I never expected that when my husband cheated, I'd still have to take care of his mistress postpartum. Back at the villa with Oliver, we carried a pile of snacks and sat on the carpet in his bedroom, using our phones to cast the screen, and started watching a horror movie. I'm a scaredy cat, but I love watching them. Within half an hour, I had already burrowed into Oliver's arms, just as the horror movie reached its most intense moment. Countless high-energy warnings floated across the screen in the bullet comments. Clutching Oliver's arm, I stared fixedly at the screen, bracing myself for the scream-inducing scene. His phone suddenly popped up with 2 messages. I'm pregnant. The due date is in a few days. The air grew subtly still as I stared at those words, even ignoring the terrifying ghostly face at the bottom of the screen. After a long while, thinking about the balance in my bank card, I hesitantly spoke up. How about I go take care of my dear sister during her postpartum confinement? Oliver suddenly loosened his grip on my hand. Fine, he said, looking at me with a hint of coldness. Get everything ready tomorrow. You go take care of her childbirth. Otherwise I'm afraid you won't feel at ease earning this money. Okay, sure, I'll go prepare now. I silently picked up my bag, left the house, and went to the mall to buy baby supplies. As I shopped, tears inexplicably started falling. I didn't even know what I had bought. Carrying several bags of baby supplies, I sat in the bustling mall, lost in thought. Jade, Wayne's face suddenly appeared before me. Senior, I quickly wiped away my tears. What's this? He glanced at the maternity and baby products beside me. I explained while wiping my tears. No, no, these are for my good friend's sister. Wayne looked shocked. Paige is pregnant. I couldn't help but start crying again, sobbing. Not them, it's Oliver's girlfriend. But aren't you his girlfriend? Did you break up? We didn't break up. I have to go take care of his mistress during her postpartum confinement. Woo-woo, Senior, why is my life so miserable? I clung to Wayne's arm and started wailing uncontrollably. Wayne was completely dumbfounded. He spent half an hour comforting me with disjointed words before I gradually calmed down. After everything quieted down, Wayne Sr. looked at me cautiously. Did crying make you feel better, MMM? I lowered my head, beginning to feel embarrassed by my earlier thoughtless words. Fortunately, Wayne Sr. didn't press further. He just helped carry my bags and saw me to the building entrance. Shall I walk you back? No need. I stared at the figure that had just flashed by in the distance. Seems like Oliver. Jade. I snapped back to attention. The warm yellow streetlight fell on Wayne's face, making his already gentle features appear even softer. If Oliver treats you poorly, you could consider me instead. I lowered my head, staring at the pile of mother and baby products at my feet, and said through gritted teeth, actually, Oliver treats me quite well, even though he made me take care of his mistress during her postpartum period. He treats me quite well. Wayne smiled politely yet distantly. I figured. I respect your choice. He always seems this way, gentle, considerate, and steadfast, but the sudden, uncontrollable surge of emotions just now made me realize with painful clarity that my feelings for Oliver might have crossed the line from pretense to reality. Even if I now realize I'm just another working fish caught in his net, then this money, I can only say I'll take it with an even clearer conscience. By the time I returned to the villa by car, Oliver was already asleep. I packed up my things and went to bed. It was just a transaction to begin with, so there's nothing for me to be angry about. The emotional breakdown just now was probably because a corner of my heart that still held some hope suddenly collapsed. Early the next morning, I brought the maternity and baby supplies I had purchased and got into Oliver's car to go take care of his mistress during her postpartum confinement. As I reached the door of the hospital room, Oliver stopped in his tracks. You go in first, I'll be back in a bit. I nodded and went in by myself. The woman in the room was asleep. She looked about 28 or 29 years old, with skin so fair it seemed to glow, likely the same woman I'd accidentally bumped into at the mall last time. I tried to put down the things in my hands as quietly as possible, but I still ended up waking her. The woman slowly propped herself up. Little sister, what brings you here? Oliver, my heart ached with bitterness. She called me little sister just as naturally as I would. Indeed, a wealthy man can make women set aside their differences, even going so far as to address each other as sisters. Hello, sister. I greeted her tactfully, pouring her a glass of hot water. Oliver said he'll be back soon and asked me to take care of you first. No, no, please don't. You're the guest. How could I let you take care of me? It's all right, sister. I forced a bitter smile and got to work. Fine, just consider it as taking on a nanny's job. With $200,000 a month, I'm definitely not losing out. Just as I was getting into the swing of things, a strange man walked in. The man walked straight to the woman on the hospital bed after entering, sat beside her, and gently kissed her forehead. How are you? Still feeling unwell? The woman kissed his cheek. I'm fine now, baby. I was stunned. A love quadrangle. Who cheated on whom? Is this how the rich live? At least try to hide it from me. I stood there, not daring to make a sound. At this moment, Oliver walked in carrying a bunch of nutritional supplements. The two on the bed were still snuggled together. I felt a little excitement inside. Here it comes, the moment of truth. Who will end up wearing the green hat? The answer is about to be revealed. Unexpectedly, the man on the bed remained unfazed and greeted her warmly. Oliver is here. The woman then scolded him. You're something else, letting your sister-in-law come alone while you ran off. I'm here now, aren't I? Besides, she was determined to take care of you during your confinement. I couldn't stop her even if I tried. I'm stunned. Oliver then introduced to me. This is my cousin, and this is her husband, me. Damn, in the evening, Oliver took me back. As soon as we got home, I punched him in the chest. Were you messing with me? Ouch, Oliver rubbed his chest. How was I messing with you? Didn't you want to help with postpartum care, so I brought you here. What's the problem? You knew perfectly well I thought it was my what? Oliver lowered his gaze, gripped my waist, and pulled me closer. Girlfriend, aren't you my girlfriend? You knew I misunderstood, yet you didn't explain. You, Jade, have such a big heart, willing to take care of the other woman postpartum. What else could I possibly misunderstand? Besides, when I went to explain, didn't you already have your senior? Forget it, you're the boss. I won't argue with you. I pushed him away irritably. Oliver grabbed my wrist and pulled me back to himself. Jade, I don't want to be your boss anymore. Firing me. Will you trade me a marriage certificate for everything I own? Dream on. How much could a student possibly be worth? I spoke my mind bluntly, voicing exactly what I was thinking. Oliver laughed in exasperation. Well, with 200,000 a month, I could still be your boss for the next 20 or 30 years. What? Too good for that now. Thinking of the endless zeros in my bank balance, I swallowed hard, but still managed to stop in time. No, it's too soon. I haven't graduated yet. Haven't started working. Maybe in the future, I'll be richer than you and can hire a college student as my boyfriend for 200,000 a month. Don't even think about it. Oliver lowered his head, pressing his forehead against mine, his gaze intense. Then I want the title of boyfriend. As if burned by his deep stare, I uncomfortably averted my eyes. Aren't you already my boyfriend? Not just in name. Oliver drew closer, his lips brushing my nose. I mean in every sense, like this. A warm sensation descended, leaving my mind blank. I don't know how long it took before I regained my senses. Oliver, won't you hate me for being materialistic? I wish you were even more materialistic, that way. When I offer my entire fortune in exchange for a marriage certificate, you wouldn't refuse, shall we? Give it a try. Oliver curled his lips into a smile. All right, let's continue then. Soon, Oliver graduated. After graduation, he didn't join his stepfather's company and instead went into software development. As a result, his family cut off his living expenses. At that time, my luck buff suddenly activated again, and the stocks I casually bought soared continuously, multiplying my savings several times over. I simply bought several properties in one go, studying for graduate school while collecting rent. Oliver is also making a profit, but clearly not as exaggerated as mine. Suddenly, I became richer than Oliver. This made Oliver stay on guard every day, working out daily, afraid I might actually hire a male college student as a boyfriend. On the night of our 2-year anniversary, he was particularly down, holding me and complaining gloomily, Jade, what should I do? You've become a young wealthy woman so early in life. Does that mean you'll look down on my entire fortune even more now? I nodded. Indeed, I can't see it anymore. Oliver lowered his head and pondered for a long time. Then I'll quit software development. How about you take a look at my stepfather's entire fortune? If it's acceptable, I'll go home and inherit the company. Oliver looked at me with righteous indignation. What? It's such a huge fortune. Why let it go to waste? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then I'll hire you as my boyfriend too. From now on, I'll be your boss. If I haven't fired you after 2 years, I'll make it official. How about that? Deal, Oliver said quickly, afraid I might change my mind. From that moment on, Oliver also acquired a notebook titled Preferences of Wealthy Women. He was exceptionally diligent, filling every page densely with black ink. That day, he quietly flipped through the notebook and sighed. Look at how serious I am, much more than you were back then. I couldn't resist taking it and flipping through the pages. The first few pages were found to have been written starting 2 years ago. Each day contained only a few brief sentences. Turns out I'm not the only one who doesn't know how to date. Jade actually Googled how to cheer up her boyfriend today. The first group photo, why do I feel outshone by her? Waited forever, but Jade didn't let me post on Moments. Couldn't resist announcing it behind her back. First time showing off our love, kinda nervous, while being dragged by my cousin to buy a birthday gift for my mom today. I ran into Jade. She saw me and immediately ran off wearing sunglasses, acting all sneaky and weird. Today Jade actually put on makeup. Damn, she looks good. I was already in a bad mood today. Jade kept finding ways to make me sign the contract. So annoying. I've been dragging my classmates out for walks for 3 or 4 days straight. Jade not only doesn't come to comfort me but even puts on sunglasses and runs away when they see me. Is this the treatment a patron deserves? Enough already. Those are sunglasses, Jade, not invisibility glasses. Hugged Jade today, no more anger. My heart melted, wanted to confess my feelings, but somehow it turned into renewing for a year. Well, I'll work on my courage and confess next year. Jade cooked for me today. It was so delicious. I love watching horror movies with Jade the most. They never let go of me while holding on tight. Jade is so adorable. Actually, Jade usually has a grumpy face when not working, only smiles a lot when with me. I love it. What follows are just more of such fawning praises. How nice. I've found myself a pure love-struck fool. Stop reading. Stop reading. It didn't feel this cringy when I was writing it. Oliver snatched the notebook back, his ears turning red enough to drip blood. From now on, don't call it Sugar Mommy Preferences. Change it to Simp Diary. I corrected him. What simp? This is called professional dedication. Jade, I've shown you my diary, now let me see yours. I shook my head like a rattledrum. No way. Absolutely no way. Don't even think about it, because there are only 2 New Year's wishes in my diary. Wish Jade a bright future. Wish Jade and Oliver many happy years together. Extra Jade's life as a landlady. After successfully getting into graduate school, for convenience, I bought several properties near the campus. I kept one for myself and rented out the rest. After posting the rental listings, the applications flooded in immediately. I spent one evening selecting a few perfect tenants. Oliver sat across from me, holding my phone, and asked in confusion, "Isn't this the junior who's on the same basketball team as me?" I froze for a moment, then immediately nodded. "Yeah, out of respect for you, I even agreed to give him a discount, so consider it." Oliver nodded approvingly and turned to the next tenant's profile. "Isn't this the guy I work out with at the gym? You really know how to pick them." Both of them look. Oliver paused. He frowned, quickly skimmed through the profiles of several people, then began reading the rental information I had posted. Tenant wanted, high-quality property at ultra-low price. Requirements, male, under 23 years old. Height 180 plus cm, with 4 to 8 pack abs. Exception made for exceptionally stunning looks. Note, all neighbors are beautiful young women. Feel free to move in. Oliver twitched his lips. "Jade," I put on an innocent face. "What? I'm doing you a favor. Are you looking for a place to rent or a boyfriend? So all those 365 days I spent at the gym were for nothing." "Jade, you heartless creature." "Not at all." I started making up excuses. "I just want to create a good study environment for myself. Besides, think about it. If I get to see abs and athletic guys at home every day, would I still go to clubs or other sketchy places for thrills? Of course not." Oliver looked even more displeased. "Jade, do you even believe that yourself? Are 6-pack abs not enough for you? Do you need an 8-pack now?" I gave him a resentful look. "I can look all I want, but you won't let me touch." "Fine, go ahead and touch." Oliver stood up, grabbed the sleeve of his t-shirt with one hand, and pulled it off in 2 seconds. "Just don't run away after you're done." I stared at the abs right in front of me and swallowed hard, as if I'd run away from such a golden opportunity. Are you kidding me? Usually it's me shamelessly sneaking a feel. But this is the first time I've openly experienced the sensation of well-defined abs, and I'm thoroughly indulging myself. But as I kept touching, Oliver's gaze grew increasingly intense, his dark eyes fixed on me, his Adam's apple bobbing. I finally realized something was off and somewhat flustered. I let go, tossing Oliver's t-shirt back to him. "Ahem, that's enough for today. You should put it back on." Oliver pulled me back, picked me up, and carried me towards the bedroom. "I warned you beforehand. Now regret is useless. You started the fire. You're responsible for putting it out. You've made your bed. Now lie in it." By the time the fire was extinguished, it was already the dead of night. My phone was vibrating incessantly, forcing me to check the messages under Oliver's gloomy stare. Apart from a few inquiries from the tenant boys, the rest were all from Paige and Miranda, who were frantically at Mark me in our dorm group chat. Paige, Jade. How's it going with the boys? Are you renting to them? You absolutely have to rent to that athlete. Put him in the room next to mine. If he can't afford it, give him a 50% discount, and I'll cover the rest. Miranda, Jade, say something already. How's it going? Did you arrange for the 2 boys I picked? After signing the contract, remember to send me their contacts. Tell them I'm the beautiful neighbor next door, and lend me your white dress. I need to uphold my fairy-like image. The 2 exchanged hundreds of messages, all with similar content. Me, let's talk tomorrow. Just finished putting Oliver to sleep. Paige, took you this long to put him to sleep. Impressive. Miranda, you should take that back. I'm jealous. I want to put the little one to sleep too. Oliver leaned in from behind. So, you're running a matchmaking service for your girlfriends here. I turned off the screen. You don't understand. This is called sisterly love. Paige broke up a year ago. Miranda has been single her whole life. Watching me and Oliver show off our affection, they've been sour about it every day. I had no choice but to resort to this last resort, utilizing resources to give my sisters the opportunity to select high-quality partners. Oliver said sourly, then why don't you move in with me? Thinking about you watching athletes' abs at home every day makes me jealous too. That won't do. I need to stay here to ensure their safety. Everything is for the sisters. Definitely not because I want to see it myself. Is that so? Oliver pressed his scorching palm over mine. Then keep coaxing me until you never want to look at abs again. Me. Despite Oliver's strong objections, the younger brothers still managed to move in. Miranda and Paige put on gentle and charming acts every day, dressing up elaborately just to take out the trash. Complete with innocent yet seductive makeup, Oliver wallowed in self-pity for a while.
Okay, Oliver coaxed while squeezing his way in. Be good, and I'll let you touch my abs every day from now on. I don't really feel like touching it anymore. Then you can touch somewhere else, as long as it covers the rent. I suspect he's making a dirty joke, but I have no proof. Never mind. Anyway, I'm not at a loss. Living together feels pretty good. Oliver is clearly overwhelmed with his own busy schedule, yet he still rushes back to cook for me. If he really can't make it in time, he'll at least bring me takeout. Several times when I noticed he looked tired, I took the initiative to cook. Then he would show with his actions that he wasn't tired at all. Miranda and Paige also started dating one after another. Wayne came to see me once when I was holding potato chips and watching a drama. Oliver had just come out of the shower, drying his wet hair as he went to open the door. By the time I got there, Wayne had already left. After that, I saw Wayne less and less frequently. On the rare occasions we did meet, he was always walking his dog with his younger brother who shared the apartment. One late night, I had such a craving that I went downstairs to the convenience store for some Odin. On my way back, I ran into Wayne and his brother returning home together. The smell of alcohol wafted over before the 2 even stepped into the elevator. Wayne, dressed in a suit with a hint of drunkenness in his eyes, seemed to have his younger brother completely drunk. Leaning heavily on Wayne, upon seeing me, he weakly greeted, "Landlady, hi." I stood on the other side of the elevator holding my Odin. "Did you 2 go drinking together?" Wayne nodded. "Yeah, he's feeling down." The younger brother interrupted. "What nonsense are you talking? Clearly, it's you." Ding. The elevator arrived just in time. Wayne promptly covered his mouth. "He's drunk and talking nonsense. I'll take him back to sleep first." I was just watching the 2 of them stagger away. Oliver suddenly appeared from behind, asking softly, "Enjoying the view?" I said speechlessly, "Can't I even take a look?" Oliver is perfect in every way, except for being jealous, especially jealous of Wayne. He blocked my view. "No, you can't look, especially not at men who have ulterior motives toward you." I'm speechless. It's been half a year already. Okay. Maybe they've already moved on to someone else. Impossible. We're all adults. What's impossible about that? You don't understand. A man's intuition, Oliver said resolutely. The next morning, I was going to deliver something to Wayne and my younger housemate. Oliver hurriedly stopped me, saying, "It's nothing, I'll handle it." But less than a minute later, Oliver returned. That fast. I stared at Oliver's inexplicably reddened face. Oliver said thoughtfully, speaking slowly. "My intuition doesn't seem to be very accurate, really." I was burning with curiosity. "What did you see? Could it be that Wayne Sr. brought a girl back?" Well, Oliver hesitated for a long moment. never mind, you'll find out eventually, anyway. It has nothing to do with the two of us, might as well do something productive, Alright then, we got married. On the eve of the wedding, Oliver handed me several documents to sign. There were several documents. The first of which was about asset transfer. Oliver curled his lips. Jade, my net worth has doubled now. How many times over? Several times over. I flipped through the documents, all under my name, under your name, voluntary gift, prenuptial property notarization. If you leave me, I'll be left penniless. Aren't you afraid I'll run off with the money? You should know, when it comes to money, I have no bottom line. Oliver shrugged. Not afraid, I objectively give my evaluation. Hopelessly lovesick, I like it, extra Oliver. The first time I met Jade was during freshman orientation. Almost everyone else had their parents or relatives by their side, but she was the only one struggling alone with a large suitcase through the crowd. Stopping in front of the dormitory building, panting heavily to catch her breath, her lonely figure seemed to overlap with my past self. I couldn't help but step forward, silently picking up her suitcase, ready to carry it back to the dorm for her. Unexpectedly, Jade grabbed the suitcase tightly and said warily, "Hey, what are you doing? There's no money in here." "I'm just trying to do a good deed and help you with your luggage," I said irritably. "Oh." Jade blushed slightly. "Sorry, I was being overly cautious. I don't need your help, I can manage." With that, she somehow mustered the strength to lift her suitcase and strode confidently toward the dormitory building. Watching her retreating figure, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. I secretly vowed never to meddle in that country girl's business again, yet, I couldn't help but notice her. Intentionally or not, beautiful and unique girls always stand out. From the whispers of my classmates, I pieced together bits of her background. Even if I'm curious about her, I wouldn't take the initiative to approach her. After all, I was rejected the first time. Moreover, every time we pass by each other, she always has a cold expression and seems to be in a hurry. I would never do anything to embarrass myself. A year later, I fell in love. I decided to give it a try. I knew that girl only chased after me for over a year because she saw me driving luxury cars and wearing expensive watches. As a wealthy person, I don't dislike gold diggers, but I cannot tolerate wearing a green hat. In a fit of rage, Jade's figure caught my eye. I knew she needed money and was certain she wouldn't refuse me. So I called out to her. I thought she would at least hesitate for a moment, but to my surprise, she snatched the bank card from my hand with such swift decisiveness, as if afraid I might change my mind even a second later, even if I truly wanted to regret it. After she called me hubby, it seemed there was no room left for second thoughts. On the first day of dating, Jade mistook someone else for me. Early in the morning, I rushed back to campus and waited for her outside the boys' dormitory. As a result, she walked right past me with breakfast in her arms, not even glancing sideways, and then stared intently at the boys' dormitory. I deliberately didn't greet her, just to see how long it would take for her to notice. Half an hour later, her gaze suddenly paused, and she finally moved. I thought she had finally recognized me, so I put on airs and took a few steps forward. I didn't expect her to walk straight past without even a glance, leaving me standing there awkwardly. Watching her hug her breakfast, she sweetly called out honey to Wayne. It made me laugh in sheer frustration. Yeah, yesterday my eyes were just fixated on the bank card in my hand. Maybe it's because I just got cheated on. I saw Jade with Wayne again and got jealous. I'm not planning to hide my emotions either. After all, you spent money on me. What's the harm in pampering me a little? But Jade probably doesn't have any dating experience either. I forced her to even search on Baidu how to cheer up a boyfriend. When I went to the mall with my cousin, I spotted Jade and her roommate from afar. I was just about to say hello when she, wearing a hat and sunglasses, grabbed her roommate and scurried away sneakily. This smooth series of actions left my cousin and me standing there in shock. My cousin teased me. "Your girlfriend is quite a character." She really is. Whenever a woman appears around me, she gives me this "I understand. Don't worry" look and quickly retreats. The more she does this, the more inexplicably annoyed I feel. Shouldn't jealousy be part of the dating experience? I decided to teach her a lesson by ignoring her and letting her reflect on her own. This is just great. Not only did she fail to grasp my meaning, but she even escalated things, retreating in full armor whenever she saw me. Doesn't she realize that wearing a hat and sunglasses on campus, then sneaking around behind trees and peering out, makes her even more conspicuous? To prevent Jade from further embarrassing herself, I decided to let it go. However, with my mom's birthday coming up, I wasn't really in the mood to confront her anyway. After drinking for several days in a row, everyone thought Jade and I had a fight. They had seen my social media post announcing our relationship with Jade in it. As soon as Jade arrived, they started giving unsolicited advice. I felt embarrassed and pretended to keep sleeping. Jade was uncharacteristically kind enough to drive me home. Looking into her sparkling eyes and listening to her elementary school level motivational talk, I suddenly felt that being in love might actually be quite nice, although Jade has a rather annoying way of comforting people. The feeling of getting a response to every word is truly wonderful. I originally wanted to confess my feelings, but Jade's not-so-big heart was completely filled with thoughts of money, which successfully talked me out of it. It's too early, anyway. I have money, so I can take my time. As time passes, I've grown more accustomed to Jade's company. I know in Jade's heart, our relationship stops at money, but currently, I can't change this situation, so I usually endure as much as possible, until my cousin is nearing her due date and has been feeling unwell frequently lately. She just messaged me to complain that I haven't visited her recently, asking if I've forgotten she's still pregnant. But when Jade mistook her for the other woman and even offered to help with postpartum care, I completely lost it. If she wants to help with postpartum care, then let her go. After all, for her, it doesn't matter who helps with the postpartum confinement. When I calmed down and wanted to find Jade to explain, I happened to see her talking face to face with Wayne about something. In a fit of anger, I went home alone. The next day, Jade was still talking tough, but her face was pale with dark circles under her eyes. While feeling heartbroken, I had a bold guess. Turns out Jade likes me too. I don't even know myself when exactly I started liking Jade. Perhaps it was when she called me hubby without hesitation. Perhaps it was when she earnestly noted down all my preferences. Perhaps it was when she matched my sarcastic tone to help me vent. Perhaps it was when she openly displayed her money-loving nature. Perhaps it was when she not so cleverly coaxed me into signing the contract. Perhaps it was when she wore sunglasses while hiding everywhere. Frame after frame remains in memory, eventually converging into her likeness. I know Jade's secret. On my graduation day, I accidentally saw her notebook. On the title page, there were 2 lines handwritten by her, wishing Jade a bright future, wishing Jade and Oliver many happy years together.